Attention. Salute and pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Presentation.
No presentation.
Ms. Amanda, you have something for us?
Yes, I do. I sent the board the TISA accountability report, which is due, but I wanted the board to know and then the public to know that there's a survey on our website. If you go to scottcounty.net and it's under announcements, if anybody would like to go give us feedback on that survey, it's open today and it will close October 31st. And then if we get any feedback, we'll take that into consideration, and then I'll have that on the agenda for November. So I just want everybody to know there's a 2-week window to do that survey, if everybody would do that, please. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else okay, we'll have the director's report.
This is Mr. Hall's report for this month. Board retreat, board members that would like to remind you, Monday, the 21st, breakfast will start at 8:30, and that's at the Technology Center. Huntsville Fairview Robins football playoff game tonight at Scott High with Gatlinburg Pittman. Kickoff's at 7. Scott High football versus Alcoa tomorrow night. Kickoff at 7:30 at Scott High. There was a new TSSAA alignment came out last week. Scott High will now be 3A in football, 3A in basketball. Clinch PAL board meeting Tuesday, 10/22 at 6 o'clock, and Miss Kim Kidd will be our new representative. And that's all he has.
Okay. Bring us to item 6. In accordance with board policy number 1.403, the Scott County Board of Education should adopt an agenda of all items to be acted upon during the regular monthly meeting of October 17th, 2024. Do I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Any discussion? No. Vote on roll call.
Dr. Murphy?
Yay.
Miss Kidd?
Yes.
Mr. Silcox? Miss Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Shelton?
Aye.
And Mr. Stanley?
Aye. Item number 7, in accordance with the Scott County School Board Policy number 4.403, the Board of Education may include routine and non-controversial items on the consent agenda, which may be adopted by a single vote without discussion. Any item on the consent agenda may be removed and placed on the regular agenda for further consideration at the request of any board members.
Motion. Second.
Any discussion? Vote and roll call.
Miss Murphy?
Aye.
Miss Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Silcox? Mr. Shelton? Miss Kidd?
Aye.
Miss King?
Aye.
Mr. Stanley?
Aye.
Sorry.
Item 8A, in pursuant to board policy number 2.201, the Scott County Board of Education needs to approve budget amendments required to balance the budget for the fiscal year 2024-25. This action will allow funds to be applied to areas of the budget that lack sufficient funds to complete the school year. Do I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Any discussion? Vote on roll call.
Dr. Murphy?
Aye.
Miss Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Silcox? Mr. Shelton? Miss Kidd?
Aye.
Miss King? Mr. Stanley?
Aye. Okay, item 8B, TSBA updates on online board policies. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Vote on roll call.
Miss King?
Aye.
Miss Kidd?
Aye.
Mr. Silcox? Miss Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Shelton? Mr. Stanley?
Aye.
Dr. Murphy?
Okay, item 8C, approval of trips. Board approval was needed for out-of-state and overnight trips. So we have those listed. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Vote on roll call.
Ms. King,
Aye.
Mr. Shelton,
Aye.
Mr. Silcox, Ms. Smith,
Aye.
Ms. Kidd,
Aye.
Mr. Stanley,
Aye.
Dr. Murphy.
Item 8D, the Scott County Board would like to donate $10,000 to Operation Share for contributions made to the Scott County schools. Do I have a
Make that
motion?
motion. Second.
Any discussion? Vote on roll call.
Ms. Kidd,
Aye.
Dr. Murphy,
Aye.
Mr. Silcox, Ms. Smith,
Aye.
Mr. Shelton,
Aye.
Ms. King,
Aye.
Mr. Stanley.
Aye. Item 8E, board approval is needed for the state special education preschool grant for the 2024-2025 school year.
I make a motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Vote on roll call.
Ms. King,
Aye.
Dr. Murphy,
Aye.
Mr. Silcox, Ms. Smith,
Aye.
Mr. Shelton,
Aye.
Ms. Kidd,
Aye.
Mr. Stanley.
Aye. Item 8F, the finance department opened bids and were sent to the board for your consideration. B&B of Tennessee and Company, repairs for exterior walls outside of the mechanical room near the cooling tower at Scott High School in the amount of $39,675. Do I have a motion?
I have some questions. Is that the, what?
I'll make a motion to second first.
Okay.
Motion.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion?
Is this the only bid that we got on this deal?
Yes.
It was.
Before we discuss this, can this not be covered by insurance?
We filled out an insurance claim. An inspector came up and looked at it and said no, that it is not covered under our insurance plan.
Oh, well.
I've got one question, okay? So I went out there and looked at it, and the roof is sided. Okay, and from my understanding, it's a new roof from a year and a half ago?
Yes.
Okay, so, and it has a warranty on it.
The roof would have a warranty, yes.
So if we, for instance, go outside and do not pass the B&B, and an outsider comes in and fixes that, and then something happens to the roof, does that void that warranty?
That would be a very technical question that I would rely on the architectural firm that designed the specs for the roof and oversaw the project to answer that question. I couldn't tell you 100% one way or the other.
Who would that be, Mr. Shelton?
Say again?
Who did you say that would be?
The architect, Alan Hill.
Alan
Upland
would
Design.
be doing it?
Yes, yeah. He designed the specs for the roof and he designed the specs for the repairs on the wall.
But the roof is under warranty still.
The roof would be under warranty, yes, absolutely. Typically, those roofs are warranted for 20 years. And I think in the case of this building, we actually purchased an extended warranty for many more years than that, I believe. So, but we've got all the documentation.
When Dixie done it, of course,
Dixie did this roof.
it was
yes, they
20
did.
years.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah.
Because that was the warranty that Dixie, because Michael Malco was here
Yeah.
when they presented that, a couple of years back when we
Yeah.
done that.
It was.
So did that answer my question? Would it void the warranty if we did not go with B&B?
B&B didn't do it anyway.
Why would we have?
B&B didn't fix the roof, is that what you're telling me?
No, Dixie.
B&B,
Dixie.
actually, B&B did the roof at Scott High School. The Dixie did this roof. Dixie did several other roofs, math pods, but the
The roof we're talking about.
roof
B&B
over the
did.
mechanical room, actually, B&B did win that bid. Yeah, because Logan Brewster was on job site actually himself. So,
Dixie done the other.
yeah, we've had so many roofs done in the system over the last
Yeah.
5 years
Yeah.
that we've had multiple folks coming in to do the roofs.
So back to my question. So if B&B is not the one that fixes the wall and something happens to the roof, are you telling me that Alan would be the one we would hold accountable?
No,
No,
I think
okay.
he would give us guidance for who would be the persons that would be held accountable. But I think that regardless of whoever does the wall repair, if the roof is damaged from the repair, they would be held accountable, even if it's B&B or whoever. If anything happens that would cause damage to that roof, then I think that they would be held accountable.
Is that something that we need to look further into, or what do you think?
As far as, I think that would, and I'm guessing right here, I'm just giving you my best and honest
Right.
opinion. I wouldn't imagine that would be something that should hold up the project or whatever, I think that would be something that we could navigate as needed.
Okay, so then you answered that question, but how is B&B fixing the problem? Are they putting braces in so that that wall doesn't give out anymore? Are they gonna go into,
Yeah.
keep going?
So really talking about the project that is being bid.
Right,
So the wall deterioration that was happened was reported in July by Vaughn Goodman,
Right.
the maintenance person out there. We went out to inspect it immediately whenever I saw the damage to the exterior. I called Mr. Hamby, I called Mr. Hall to report because it was significant enough that I didn't feel comfortable moving forward with the repairs without an architect involved, because we're talking about structural integrity of the building and the safety of anyone who, if something was to fall from that damaged area beneath it, it could damage the roof, it could damage or hurt somebody if it fell off of the building. So when he came in, he got structural engineers involved, and he assured us that the roof structures, the wall structures, everything load bearing was safe, but they were concerned about, again, falling debris from that. So I think that some of the designs that he came up with was to mitigate the risk for any damage to the roof if that wall, portions of the block or whatever fell and damaged the roof. And then should it any, God forbid, one go through the roof or fall off and hit somebody on the ground beneath.
so do we have those in some kind of contract with B&B?
With no, they just, B&B was one of I believe there was 4 different companies that came to the pre-bid meeting. The pre-bid meeting is where Alan Hill, myself, Vaughn Goodman, we got up on there. They laid eyes on the damaged area, the damage on the inside of the mechanical room. So those 4 companies looked at it. They got the specs for the bid, and it turned out that just the one chose to submit a bid.
Any other questions?
Why did insurance turn it down? I know that,
I can forward you the report. I sent it to Mr. Hall. They felt like that it was more of natural aging of the building as opposed to an event that would be covered under the insurance claim.
So outside of fallen debris, he assured us that there's no integrity issues. It's as far as urgency, right? It's just,
To my knowledge, yes, sir. And that was the one thing that we wanted to make sure of. So the pictures, he got up on ladders and took interior pictures, exterior wall pictures, got a hold of the structural engineer, and they did assure us. And as a matter of fact, within recent phone calls with Mr. Hill, he reassured that the structural integrity of the building is safe. So, yes.
Vote on roll call then.
Mr. Silcox. Mr. Shelton.
nay.
Ms. Smith.
No.
Ms. Kidd.
Aye.
Ms. King.
No.
Mr. Stanley?
Aye.
Dr. Murphy?
No.
Motion fails 4-3.
And let me just go on record, we don't have, the reason we feel like, I feel like, we don't have enough information. The contractual, what are they gonna do, how are they gonna fix it? If B&B has supplied that, then forward it to us. Would that work?
Sure.
And we can bring this,
The specs is on the bid.
The
the
contract
specs.
is the specifications.
Whenever you bid something.
I read
there's
that,
specs.
Mr. Silcox, and I did not see that.
The specs of how to do something will be on the bid.
Between now and then, though, is it urgent to get this fixed in case something was to fall and hit someone? Is that what you're saying?
You said, well, no, it
This
wasn't.
is the structure.
The structure is safe. The risk of falling debris on the side of the building, there's blocks near the top that are, cracked. So,
And is that the only place they're cracked, is at the top?
you can see the cracks from the road that is between the high school and the TCAT.
Okay.
And the cracks they're significant in that they were not noticeable 2 to 3, 4 years ago. So, but we can put crack monitors on them and make sure that they're not moving more.
It's not that I don't want to
I
fix
just-
it, that's not why I voted against it.
No, I understand. yes.
It's just that, I don't know, sometimes we need to look a little deeper.
Yes, ma'am.
I just feel like for the amount that it's a wall, the structure's not compromised, it's not impacting teachers and students on a daily basis, that I'd like to look into it more. That's the reason, I'm not saying we should.
And, I mean, could we not take a roll of wire and bolt it into the wall to hold it while we figure out if it's that dangerous?
You just now said you could put a stress monitor on it, so if we detect any movement whatsoever, then we can act with a call meeting if we have
Anytime we
to.
have interior wall cracks or anything like that, we will get on Amazon and we will buy crack monitors that will use 2 different pieces of plastic that will be on either side of the crack, and we can measure how fast or how much they move.
And Mr. Beatty, well, did you say you'd have to handle this if it came back up?
It'll have to be rebid
Rebid.
because this failed. At some point, the board will need to rebid this project.
Okay.
On 8G, approval is needed for the board to amend board policies as recommended by the TSBA. There would be the grading system and the testing programs. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Vote on roll call.
Dr. Murphy?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Silcox?
Aye.
Mr. Shelton?
Aye.
Ms. Kidd?
Aye.
Ms. King?
Aye.
Mr. Stanley?
Aye. Item 8H, memorandum of understanding. A memorandum of understanding is needed between the Scott County Board of Education and SCEA. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Vote on roll call.
Dr. Murphy?
Aye.
Ms. King?
Aye.
Mr. Silcox? Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Shelton?
Aye.
Ms. Kidd?
Aye.
Mr. Stanley?
Item 8I, the Scott County Board of Education needs to approve the budget applications. The ISM budget, the project aware. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Vote on roll call.
Ms. Kidd?
Aye.
Mr. Shelton?
Aye.
Mr. Silcox,
Aye.
Ms. Smith,
Aye.
Ms. King,
Aye.
Mr. Stanley,
Aye.
Dr. Murphy.
Aye.
Brings us up to item 8J. Approval is needed to appoint the ELA textbook committee for the 2024-2025 school year. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Vote on, roll call.
Ms. King,
Aye.
Ms. Kidd,
Aye.
Mr. Silcox,
Aye.
Ms. Smith,
Aye.
Mr. Shelton,
Aye.
Mr. Stanley,
Aye.
Dr. Murphy.
Aye.
Item 8K, approve a pay increase. The Director of Transportation is requesting approval for the school bus driver trip pay to be increased from the current amount of $30 in county trips to $45.
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
That is noted in there somewhere that out of county, the first county doesn't count.
Surrounding counties that
Surrounding-
touches Scott will not be charged the $15.
Is that what you discussed?
Yes.
Yes.
So it needs to be written in, because we don't want to just
Yeah.
leave it like that.
Question on that, Mr. Beatty?
Is that a change in the current policy?
Yes, it is.
It was the decision that we all decided on here, and this is saying it, but we needed to say in this same, statement that any county touching Scott County, we do not get charged for. I think that needs to be added in there, because that might be a point.
Because the way it is written now is it's $15 for
Yeah.
every new county line you cross.
Yes.
We can clarify that in the resolution, that there's no increase for counties that border Scott County,
Right.
apart from this resolution.
What,
Well-
did we pay for a county, the next county touching us before this resolution though?
I think so.
Yeah, so that wouldn't fix it.
That wouldn't fix it, that would still
Be the
let them
same
be paid
amount.
for that county.
Been the same amount. 30 plus 15 is 45.
No, but if we're saying we're raising it to 45,
What
it'd
if-
be 45 plus
What if
15.
we said that
If we go
any
along
county bordering Scott County would be $45? Was that,
Then you're not fixing it.
We have principals out
Yeah.
there that this pertains to them. So,
Okay,
what
Jeremy,
did you
explain
guys
it.
decide?
this will solve an in for the bus garage and the bus drivers. The 45, to increase to 45 solves their request for more money in county. But when you take out the 15 per county bump, and you take out the counties that touch, Morgan, Campbell, et cetera, Macquarie, then it makes it, for an out-of-county trip, makes it a wash. And also would help our middle schools, because a lot of their trips are Morgan and Campbell.
I say you bump it to 45, keep the 15 in place. That's what they're asking for.
Well, it's worded wrong.
It's
worded.
We're not
It's
trying to
worded.
read out what we're paying. We just want it worded correctly, because there might be a time down the road that this will come back and somebody will be questioning that.
And they
So
will be.
If we make it right to start with, it won't be questioned.
Okay.
We're not questioning what we're paying them. And
Well, it's not us paying them, it's the
It's the
principals.
yeah,
principals.
exactly.
the understanding is that there would be $45 in county trips. That's what this resolution says.
That's it. That's
And
all we
any-
need.
That's all it says.
Everything else stays the
It
same.
doesn't say anything
Why
about
would you do
county.
anything?
Well, before we did not have the counties touching us exempt from 15.
Yeah.
It's in there.
Scott Cash
And
says
we're not-
Anderson
we're not
County
up in
technically
that.
touches us too.
Scott?
Pickett does too, I'm just saying.
So right now,
Technically,
we're paying $30, correct?
Mm-hmm.
When you leave this county into Campbell County, does that add on another 50?
Before it was
Yes.
45 to go to Campbell,
Yes.
Yes, there's 30.
30 plus the 15.
And if you,
Did you
So if you go through, if you leave Scott County, you
Yep.
got $30. You hit Campbell, it's another 15, you're at 45.
Mhm.
You keep traveling on Knox,
Yeah.
what does that happen?
Anderson,
15,
Knox.
Another 15.
We go
Okay.
Blunt.
So-
So the only thing they're asking for is not changing any of the 15. They're asking for just, when they leave the county, $45.
Yeah, and the discussions with, I think we talked to a lot of you, our only thing was if we take out the counties that bordered us, then it's a wash on when we go to Blount County, when we go to Sevier County. They're not increased, because that adds up.
You're not gonna get a bus driver to go from here to Knox with $45.
No,
Well,
no,
they-
no, no.
No.
It's been
Just
more
take
than
out the 15 when you cross Campbell. You'll get 15 when you get Anderson, you'll get 15 when you get Knox, you'll get
Of the first
15.
county connected
But
to
the
us.
45 makes that the same trip we take to Alcoa this year will be the same trip we take next year in the new policy if we take out the bordering county.
So what's you're treating bordering counties like Scott County?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah,
it's 45
that's-
in county, 45 for bordering counties. Beyond that, it's $15.
15. Yeah, yeah.
I can
It's
just,
tricky wording.
if that's okay with the board.
Yeah.
Jeremy?
Yes.
It's not 45 going and 45 coming back.
No.
No.
It's 45
Sure, yeah.
one way.
One way.
That's right.
I'll run roll call.
Mr. Silcox, Ms. Dr. Murphy,
Aye.
Ms. Smith,
Aye.
Mr. Shelton,
Aye.
Ms. Kidd,
Aye.
Ms. King,
Aye.
Mr. Stanley.
I didn't want to vote on decreasing anything.
We weren't either.
Sure, and then
No way.
I'm just trying to take the bus driver.
Item 8L,
You need to be an English teacher.
approved Stellar contract. The Scott County Board of Education would like to enter into a contract with Stellar. They will file claims for care for reimbursement on behalf of the Board of Education for students with daily chronic health conditions. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
Who files now for us? Rosemary?
Okay, at this current time, we're not receiving any reimbursement for anything that we're doing. So this is, work we're already doing, and this is just an opportunity for us to get a little bit of money for services that we're providing, so.
Already.
This is something new, yes. It's gonna be a little bit of work at the upstart, trying to get, there's some paperwork and stuff we have to get in place, and Mr. Bond will probably kill us because I have some
Okay.
questions with.
Oh, I didn't know if we had anybody prior to this and if we just decided this was the best way to go, you know.
This is just something, this company started doing this a couple of years ago, and some of the surrounding counties are doing it, and, they've been really successful with it.
Do we have to pay Stellar?
No, what happens
they-
is,
They get a percentage
Well,
of
that's
the-
what I figured, but I didn't
30% of the
read it.
they get a percentage of
And I'm
everything we
sorry.
get back. So,
I will say, I looked at the contract. It's a short-term contract. It actually extends only to the end of this fiscal year. So,
Reevaluate.
yeah, so we can see how it goes. I don't think there's any downside to it. There's a lot of administration of this, which I've spoken with Miss Rosemary about. It's gonna be on them, not on, not on the board. But
our parts, things we're already doing, we're
Yeah.
giving the medicine, taking care of the children. Just at the very beginning, we're gonna have to have some signatures from parents, and then some other paperwork that the nurses will have to do. But then after that, it'll just, our understanding is we'll send them like a monthly report of the kids that are covered under this program that we have administered medications to, or cared for them in some special way. And then we will get whatever they will file, and then they keep 30%, we get 70% of what Teen Care pays.
so we'll have 8 months to see how this goes.
But is it my understanding you're just gonna do this with one school?
What we thought was maybe we would try to start with maybe Huntsville and Fairview and see, because that's, the two that I'm closest to, and work with those, and we have a high volume of children that receive medications there. And it's just Teen Care, it doesn't work with any other health insurances. And we have, we've looked at, and a lot of our kids that do take medicine in those two schools you know, are taken care of. So that's all I'm gonna try.
Vote on roll call.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Shelton?
Aye.
Ms. Kidd?
Aye.
Ms. King?
Aye.
Mr. Stanley?
Aye.
Dr. Murphy?
Aye.
Mr. Silcock?
Item 8M, contract for professional services. The Scott County Board of Education desires to apply for a hazard mitigation grant that would fund qualifying repairs, replacement, or new construction projects. If received, the grant would be largely funded by FEMA and TEMA, with a local match required for 25% or less. A master service agreement for professional and consulting services has been presented to the board for consideration by Baradas and Associates, who have specialized training and experience in advising LEAs and local governments in the application, management and administration process of these grants. The fee for these services would not exceed $15,000, and approval of a qualified project, if the grant was awarded, would need to be funded and separately approved by the board in a future resolution. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
I know when you read that, and we were in the same, when we met with these people, all of us wasn't there. That just sounded so, I don't know what's the right word. It just didn't really make any sense to me at all. But after we sat there and found out what we are possibly going to be able to get out of this, I don't think a lot of people understand what it is. And so I think that one of us, who's most knowledgeable, needs to explain to the others that was not here what this really is.
Be happy to do that. So essentially what we are looking at possibly starting the application process for is a TEMA-funded, TEMA/FEMA-funded mitigation grant project that would allow our school system, our county, our community to construct a safe room for an amount that's reimbursable. Right now, the most we would be looking at is 12.5 cents on the dollar. The fact that Tennessee is in a federally declared disaster state, we could receive up to 90/10 funding, which would put us with, and the state would split that and supplement additional 5%, which would take it 95-5. But in essence, the facilities, this is something that's been extremely popular in states like Mississippi and Alabama, where tornadoes specifically are obviously very relevant. And to my knowledge, we would be the second school system in the state of Tennessee to pursue one of these. The only other school system that I'm aware of is Fayetteville High School in Lincoln County, and they are going out to bid now. So I think it's a tremendous opportunity for us to at least go through the process, see if it's feasible, and do something that would have, you know, long-standing impacts on generations of people in our community. And the fact that we could possibly be looking at a facility that's, you know, a multi-million-dollar facility for pennies on the dollar, I think it would be egregious not to at least pursue it. But I'm happy. But the facility itself, most of the times, they are gymnasiums. I think with the proximity, if we place it at Scott High, we would be looking at close to a 20,000 square foot facility that most of the time they're utilized as gymnasiums. So based on what the folks from Broadus told me, that would accommodate seating for up to 1,500 to 2,000 people. So that would increase our capacity quite a bit, but it would be something that would be accessed by the community in a tornado type of event at 24/7 as well. Questions?
No, but
Was that good?
it was good. I understood it better that time. But it was hard for me to get my head around all of it, and I've read all the stuff. But to think that we've got a safe room where we could get people, because there's a possibility we could have a disaster here like they have in, North Carolina. And if we could get them to a place like that, many lives could be saved with this. And it's not gonna cost that much to get one. It's a big thing, and we'd be very blessed to be able to get this thing. But our initial thing that we would have to do is pay the 15,000, right?
That's the commitment now.
Yeah, not
according
to
the
exceed.
resolution.
Not to exceed 15,000.
So I think the, whatever charges accrue monthly, would be.
Mr. Bailey, and that's contingent on if approved, not approved, or does it matter?
The 15, actually, you would be approving the application and the fee up to 15,000.
Right, okay, but actually, if
Pending.
we were denied by FEMA and TEMA,
We
if
lose
that project was
15,000.
divide, it
You'd
was.
still be out
denied.
that,
We'd be
yes.
out that much
Yeah.
money. Okay, so the total cost of this dome is what I'm gonna call it, right?
Because that's what it's
Of the
gonna look
dome,
like.
if the total cost would be how much?
We don't know. We have to go through
You
the
would
process.
have, you would actually, I'm sorry,
Okay.
you would have to, if you were approved of something, the board would have to actually apply for the project. You'd have to engage an engineer, an architect, and then you would have to put it out to bid.
So it not only contingent on the 15 of us getting it, but it also whether we have monies in the
If the board-
reserve.
If the board decides to do that, you still have to decide to actually move
So
forward.
it'll come back to us to decide, is what you're saying?
Yes, that's
Okay.
what that last sentence says.
Okay, I was just making sure.
Vote and
And I
roll.
know this is a $15,000 we might lose, but,
18,
well,
okay.
okay. That's not very much when you think that
The impact. it could-
the impact, the whole picture of it.
But the whole picture of it is, do we have the monies to be able to build it? Is there's monies in our reserve in 2 years to build this project? And if there's not monies, then what do we do? Just sit on it for a while?
Well, that's one of the things we discussed. So if we start the application immediately, there's a better chance of us to receive more favorable funding,
Yeah.
which is the urgency behind this. But that takes 12 months. They let me know that, we would know halfway through whether or not we're going to be approved. And the reasons we wouldn't are things like tribal objections by whatever, but we've talked to the folks at TEMA that are navigating this process with Fayetteville. They're excited that we're considering this. They hope to do many more of these projects, so it's something that, for us, we have an opportunity to be on the front end of before it gets more competitive with other school systems in the area. But we go out, we get approved 12 months, we decide whether or not we want to move forward from that point and go out and bid an architect, an engineer, and a project manager. That typically takes about 6 to 8 months. Then once we get all the drawings, we bid out the construction. That takes another 6 months. I think Fayetteville started this process 4 years ago, so there's a good chance that it would be 2, 3, 4 years before we ever were able to break ground on this.
Vote and roll call.
Mr. Shelton,
Aye.
Mrs. Smith,
Aye.
Mr. Silcox,
Aye.
Ms. Kidd,
Aye.
Ms. King,
Aye.
Mr. Stanley,
Aye.
Dr. Murphy.
No.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion?
Thanks.
Mr. Silcox, you have anything? Ms. Smith?
Just look forward to meeting with y'all Monday at the board retreat. So, with that.
Mr. Silcox?
Thank you guys for all the activities and the Halloween stuff going on.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for all you do.
Ms. Angie?
Thank you for all the prayers. I appreciate it. Appreciate your concern. It's much needed and much appreciated. And pray for our children.
Dr. Murphy?
Have a good year. Welcome back, right? Welcome back.
Hold on, roll call.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Shelton,
Aye.
Mr. Silcox, Ms. Kidd,
Aye.
Ms. King, Mr. Stanley,
Aye.
Dr. Murphy.
Aye.
And you.